Okay, hello guys, welcome back to another video. Silo, Season 2, Episode 3. You might not have known this came out. It came out Tuesday night, when they're normally Thursday nights, because of Thanksgiving. I'm guessing. I don't know why, but for sure, but that's my guess and it makes sense. But I'm just gonna get right into this, because we got a lot here, a lot of questions answered in this episode. So we start with some interesting directing, which I appreciated, kind of the camera panning between Juliet's journey in the silo so far, her seeing the word lies, her ditching her suit, and kind of just, I guess, panning the camera through her journey all the way up until where we last saw her with the guy in the safe. They talk, they exchange names, or at least at first Juliet says her name, and he says, like the play? And Juliet says, you have the same play here too? And I'm guessing it's Romeo and Juliet. They haven't told us, but I'm guessing. And they have the exact same play on both silos, which is interesting. And here he asks which silo she came from and says that there are 50 silos, which is I mean, at the end of the series finale, not the series, season 1 finale, I tried to count the silos and I'm pretty sure it was like 80 or something I counted. So maybe I counted wrong, or when they showed us the above view it was a little misleading. But there are 50 silos confirmed now. That's just a pretty big deal. And this guy casually knows that. But given the time that he has spent in this vault, maybe he got the information through here, or as he describes Russell, maybe Russell told him. We'll talk about Russell more, but he seems like the Bernard of this silo. But he asked Julia when she was walking over here, where was the sun? Where was the sun? To kind of get a point of view, which is very interesting. Now, I mean, this could be more interesting than I'm thinking. I mean, he asked where was the sun, right? I mean, but that's an interesting question, knowing like the sun could be like anywhere depending on the time of day. So how would that help, you know? If it was noon or whatever, the sun's above you, I don't know how that's gonna help. But the fact that he asks where was the sun just makes me, that's just so weird to me. Maybe there's something I'm missing. Maybe there's something important to this. I mean, I guess it could be like if the sun was in front of her and she walked to the silo, or if the sun was to her left, kind of like north, east, southwest kind of a thing. Or I'm just trying to read into it too much. He says the closest silos are, I think, 15, 16, 17, 18. We know their silo is 18. And then he says his name is Solo. And I appreciated the directing in this conversation being, when we got his point of view talking in the safe, we didn't see him at all. We got the camera just very close to the window and his voice kind of like bouncing off this window. And I appreciated that decision. But then he explains of a person in their silo named Ron Tucker who did not clean. He explains more about this Russell guy that they mentioned in episode 1 that they had kidnapped and accidentally killed when they were torturing. But Russell basically seems like the Bernard of this silo. He's the head of IT. He knows the information, and yeah. Now, Solo says Russell told him to never let someone in the vault, and so he has done that. And he explains how everyone kind of died, that it sparked a rebellion once Ron Tucker got out, and she starts to think about the fact that the same might be going on in her silo now that she has walked over the hill, now that she didn't clean. And she didn't think about her own silo, but now she does, and she wants a suit to get back. We go back to our silo, where we see Teddy getting arrested, and it seems like Judicial wants to make an example of someone down deep. Then we go to Bernard in the server room. He goes in the vault again with Judge Meadows this time, and they talk about this big book called The Order. Now, I thought this was the Pact last episode, I believe it was, but The Order seems different than the Pact and something only like head of IT would have. They explain how in The Order it says that there may be attempts to glorify the person that failed to clean, but those need to be shut down. And then at the same time I was wondering what's on the screen, you know, the screen here, and I think it's just it's obviously just a blue glow, but I don't have any ideas. Maybe it's some sort of like 3D mapping of the outside world or something like that. But we also get confirmation here that the video from season 1 episode 9 and the finale that Juliet tried to show to the rest of the silo was that was of a cleaning where it looked beautiful outside. And we get confirmation that this is over 200 years old, this video that she found, and this hard drive. So that's just a good timestamp to let us know. Then Meadows asks Bernard if Juliet actually said she wanted to go out. He says, yeah, she did. But they also explain that that other silo 17, I think they said. I'm pretty sure. Very sure, actually. But the other silo that Juliet is in with Solo, that it died over 25 years ago. This being because he said that the silo died before she was his shadow, and kind of before they knew each other. And that all happened 25 years ago. She became his shadow. So knowing that it was before that, it has to have been before 25 years, which means a lot. Saying how long Solo's been in that vault. I don't know if he's actually been in that vault 25 years, or he's been around and went into the vault like 10 years ago, but he's been in there a while. Then we get Juliet sifting through some supplies to try and get new suits. We see Ron Tucker lives written down, and she gets some lights. Then we go to judicial. Sims, who says that there should be judicial seclusion for Patrick Kennedy, and the younger guy that helped him, I don't remember his name, but they talk about the fact that they haven't done medication on them yet. And Sims goes to interrogate Patrick Kennedy, and we get confirmation here as well that Doris, his wife, we didn't know what happened to her, but that Sims took her away. Then he gives Patrick Kennedy the incentive of giving him a drug that makes him forget he ever, I guess, was married to Doris, and using it as an incentive to kind of spare his pain. Then we get Paul Billings and Meadows, where she questions Juliet going outside in his report. Paul admits to her that he has the syndrome, and we kind of get a confirmation of what the syndrome is here as well. And it being that what causes the syndrome is an unnatural reaction to being underground. Now, this is what we thought it was, but it's good to get some confirmation. And then Meadows, before they leave, says she wants his report first before anyone else. Then we go to Juliet back with Solo, who opens some chicken stew that Solo has left her, but he obviously had to have opened the vault to have left it to her. She doesn't say thank you and just is really hungry, starts to eat a bunch. Solo explains how he remembers suits and material that are in supply, but it is underwater. I did remember here in the trailer we get a shot of her actually swimming around, so I'm guessing they will do that in the next episode or maybe a little later. Juliet tells Solo why people clean, and explains these creatures that were flying in the video that she saw, and Solo says those are called birds, and she's like, all right, they're birds is what I saw. But interesting, another thing Solo knows that these are called birds, which is very interesting. And Juliet asks Solo here, why are you alive? Why are you alive when the rest of the silo's dead? Juliet says clearly someone tried to get into this vault, and sees like some burn marks and stuff of like people trying to get in. He doesn't answer this question. He says, I just protect the vault. And then Juliet starts to ask too many questions. He shuts his little flap and stops talking to her. And she goes to the door and says, thanks for the food. And then starts to leave. And he opens this flap again and says, I needed you to eat the food. And that was a little creepy at first. Like, wait. What do you mean you needed her to eat the food? Then he says, because I wanted to confirm that I wasn't imagining you. Which means he sees people. And he's just confirming this. I thought it was going to be like poison or something, but at least it wasn't. Then we get Sims with a new character, Reggie. This is kind of a thrown-in scene there, where he's sending Reggie to mechanical, sending down to mechanical. And he says this is because he gave him 10 minutes with Archie Brent. So this is either a scene I completely missed on or just a random scene we don't know much about yet, because I didn't remember this Reggie or an Archie Brent. Then we get Paul getting his last judicial officer account of someone who said that Juliet wanted to go outside. It's this last lady that we actually saw last season having doubts when she saw Juliet getting captured. Then we get Juliet's father, Dr. Nichols, in a garden type area with a woman who says that she wants a baby. Her name is Phoebe Wells. Juliet's dad talked about the fact his experience with expecting a child, and she says she's sorry that she brought up the topic of a kid when she learns his name, talking about Juliet. But yeah, that's it. Then, as Juliet's trying to sleep, we get more music coming from the vault, which is Solo playing it, loud music. It's kind of his like call. He's like calling her, a phone call basically. But he explains he had an idea that a firefighter suit may work to get outside. And he says firefighter suits are on level 70, 23, and engineering. And Juliet's like, wow, that's a great idea. Firefighter suit actually might work because the other suits are already not that good anyways. But Juliet goes down there and realizes there's a water problem. It's just one level down, so it's not that far. The water's encased in one level, but still it's a problem. Then we see Paul bring the report to Judge Meadows, where he says that last judicial officer was saying they had doubts and on the job, and the pact says not to let people out yet, or not let the people go outside if somebody still has doubts. So Bernard did not follow the pact. And then Meadows gets this information, sits down in her living quarters, and then gets this box that's like this projector and projects all these memories of life. These aren't her memories. This is just like home video recordings of human life before the silo, hundreds of years ago recordings. Then as we see these recordings from her, we get the Down Deep kind of pushing against Judicial to get Teddy released. Nox is trying to calm everyone down. We see a horse from the recordings. We see sledding. We see the beach. And then we see Patrick Kennedy come in to this mob that's trying to get Teddy free with a Molotov and throws it. And he's obviously planted here by Sims. He's a plant to make Mechanical seem like the bad guys and turn the silo against Mechanical and the Down Deep in order to not create a rebellion and a war. But he does this, and one of the officers starts to shoot bullets. He shoots guns and bullets, and he shoots Cooper, and Cooper dies. And it's just very, I don't know, it's kind of sad. I think there's way more for his character. So she's introduced in season 1, man. Like beginning of season 1, he was Juliet's shadow. He wanted to do something, but in a way, those reasons make his death make sense, because he was the innocent one. He was the one who just wanted to do good. He was young, and he just cared about the people around him. He was innocent, and his death makes the most sense story-wise to make the biggest impact on the Down Deep. Not only to make them spark that rebellion more when someone like that dies, but also to kind of make these people realize, the Down Deep, what war actually is, what rebellion actually means, that sacrifices actually do happen. But then we go back to Judge Meadows. She's watching a birthday party while she cries, and we get this artifact they talk about multiple times, kind of main artifact in her room, or relic. Can you guys tell me what this is? It's supposed to be a human relic. I wasn't sure what it was. It looks like a frisbee with like the middle missing. Like there's those type of frisbees, but I don't know. Then we see Dr. Nichols. Next patient is actually that Phoebe Wells that he talked to in the garden, and there's a code orange saying that her birth control must not be removed because she must be one of the people that'll carry the torch of rebellion. Then Hank from the Down Deep explains he needs Paul right now. Coop just died, that the sheriff department needs to get under control. And this is definitely sparking a further rebellion. This is consequences of what they want. And Nox and Shirley talk about this. And Nox says, punch me if you're angry, don't punch the wall. And she actually does it. And it's funny. But Nox says he's all in now. He wants to do this rebellion, but he wants to do it a different way. And we don't get that different way, but it's probably a smarter approach than brute force. And he starts to say that maybe the names on the wall in the secret area are important. Now this wall, we've seen many times, and we saw it in episode 1 of this season, actually. The wall is here. And I was thinking about the fact with names, the fact that people are spreading the names of Juliet and Ron Tucker this episode. Is he implying that these names are also people that got out? Or people that died, that they sparked a rebellion for? I think those are my two theories. It's either people that somehow got out that we don't know about, or it's people that have died, because we know the people that wrote those names were the rebellion, and maybe they wrote those names in honor of those who died, and they're gonna write Cooper's name on the wall now too. Then we get Meadows and Bernard talking about her going outside. Like she said last episode, she wants to go outside with a good suit, and it explains basically that she would go outside without people knowing it, because they kind of freeze the monitors so no one would see. They're gonna get a new suit, so he measures her, and somehow he says he doesn't need to write it down, he'll just remember it, which is very suspicious. But Meadows confronts Bernard about Juliet saying that she wanted to go out, and says that he lied to her, and there's a little bit of mistrust there. Then Juliet comes banging on Solo's vault and says that she can make an air pump to go down this one level to get this firefighter suit, but she needs her help, or his help, I mean, to kind of hold the pump and oxygenate while she's underwater. So she needs someone else there with her, and Solo's like the only one there. And then she notices that there's bodies outside of the vault. She's seen them, but she asks him, like, these are fresher than the other bodies. Why are there dead people out here? And he's kind of doesn't answer it. Basically, he just says, I just need to protect the vault. That's all he says. And then she says, why don't you just come out of the vault and help me? And he says, no, you don't understand, no. And it's either one of two things. Either like he's that scared to leave the vault, I was thinking, or like he uncontrollably kills people if he goes out of the vault or something like that. Like he's protecting Juliet from herself, kind of a thing, or from himself, kind of a thing. And that's why he didn't want to leave the vault, because there's fresher bodies over there that have died. So he knows how they died, and I mean, he may have even killed them. But that was my theory, but I don't know, judging by how this episode ends, if that's true. But he says he won't help. Then Juliet sees the words, "We will get in sooner or later," written on the wall. And this is where Juliet realizes his struggle, realizes why he won't go out. And really, it's about trust. And it seems like Solo's kind of lost trust in people. Basically, that's what her conclusion is here, that he must have opened the vault before. Maybe he had to kill these people that fought him, and he sees that people tried to burn. She sees that people tried to burn his vault. She sees that people wrote the words, "We'll get in sooner or later." That he feels like he can't trust people. Basically, that what people have done to him and tried to harass him, that he doesn't trust Juliet enough to open this vault yet. Then we hear him say, "Wait," and that's it. Then we go to the father, Juliet's father, doing the birth control operation on this Phoebe Wells, and he's supposed to fake it look like he didn't remove the birth control, but he defies this here, and he actually does remove her birth control because of his own private conversation with her, and kind of feeling more defiant lately. But then the episode ends with Juliet kind of walking away, and she's crossed this bridge, and Solo is all the way out here and says, "Don't go," and he has left the vault. And she says he looks different than she thought he would, and I kind of thought the same thing for some reason. But yeah, this is Solo, and he explains how this is so much space compared to his vault. And Juliet says, come across the bridge. And I was like, wait, we don't have to do that yet. Let's just do baby steps. And he's like about to fall. She grabs him and kind of tries to help balance him. And he says, no, and kind of pushes her away. But this is like him saying, I can't be touched. I'm sorry, it's not you. I can't be touched. And then the final thing he says is, you really are here, aren't you? I can't believe you are real. And then the episode pans up and we end. So that was a pretty good episode. We got a lot answered, huh? The amount of silos, what the syndrome is, whatnot, and Solo leaving his vault. Got some Solo answers as well. But a lot happened, and I think it'll just get crazier and crazier as the season goes on. They're building up with each episode the tension, and yeah. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'll be breaking down next week, but it's 9 days away instead of like 7. Have a good rest of your day. Goodbye.